reprogramming your mind is an act of self-love, especially in a generation that we're seeing that is so addicted to their devices. It's an act of self-love to be like, hey, I deserve more than this. I deserve to have a life that I can actually fully experience offline. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be sitting down and discussing a new sort of trend that is happening, at least in my sphere, on YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, is the anti-brain rot movement. And so recently I have been seeing quite a few videos with this term in the title, and I was like, I want to talk about this because I feel like it feels like an extension of the I'm quitting social media movement, like I'm quitting social media permanently movement. And I was like, I'm really happy this is happening because especially seeing what has been going on in the news. For example, I remember seeing this teacher who recently quit her job, and she got on the news saying how the attention spans and the behaviors of kids today is just unmatched. Like it's not the same. It's not how it used to be. And it's just getting worse. Some kids can't even sit long enough to read a paragraph in a book. Some of them are really struggling with advancing in their classes because they're so distracted by their phones and social media. And even observing people around me, like my peers and everything, because it's not just a younger generation, like a Gen Alpha, I think that's what their official title is. But even like my peers, Gen Z, late millennials, even millennials that I know, they're so addicted to their phones, to the internet, now to ChatGPT, and it's just like, where's this world going? I don't know. And I don't want this to sound like, oh, back in my day, like, we didn't have this problem, we should go back to the old days. Like, no. And that's why I wanted to highlight the difference between the I'm quitting social media forever movement versus the anti-brain rot movement that I've noticed is that the anti-brain rot movement is more like, okay, let's set hard boundaries and like basically retrain our mind to be able to do the things like read and actually pay attention to a video long enough without needing to do something else while also maintaining a social media presence, but it's more balanced. So that's what I'm observing so far from the videos I've been watching. For example, I recently watched Unjaded Jay's video, and she carves out a day each month to get around to learning things she wants to learn about. Like, she turns off her phone, she's unavailable, even though she has a strong social media presence, but she makes sure this time of month she sits down and actually engages with her mind in a different way than social media, flipping through TikTok, flipping through Instagram, and all that stuff. So I want to dive into this video and kind of share the ways that I've kind of already been enacting this movement or practices within this movement, because for me, if you've been following me for a while, I've had a love-hate relationship with social media since I don't even know when it started, but I feel like if I had to pinpoint a time, it was after watching The Social Dilemma. It's a documentary on Netflix. And after watching that, I was like, yeah, Aaliyah, we need to get on the train of basically cultivating a life and building a lifestyle that does not revolve around social media. And then I feel like the second wave of when I kind of took a step back from social media was after I graduated college. I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was like, I feel like social media is a big distraction in my life. So I took like 6 months, 7, 8 months off of social media and just focused on working on the projects and the things I wanted to really make progress on. And I did. And like that just showed me that my life does not have to be centered around social media to get somewhere, even though that's a myth that kind of goes around nowadays, that you have to be on social media 24/7 if you want to pursue this or that. I mean, besides, if you want to be a social media influencer, that's different. But besides that, yeah, it's great to kind of network and stuff like that. But the extent at which we use it, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. It's other ways around that. And so I just want to share the ways that it's helping me avoid rotting my brain and actually using it in a way to where I feel more in control of what's happening. Because when you use social media so much, it feels like it's controlling you and you're not in control of it. So for those of you who are like, okay, I'm ready to change my lifestyle because it's getting to the point where I'm noticing that my attention span is not how it used to be, and I don't want it to be like this anymore, then here are some ways that have helped me, and so hopefully they'll help you. So the first step, and it's a hard one, it's easier said than done, but you really have to retrain your brain to like analog activities. Like there's just no way around it. Especially like if you, like me, grew up with social media and it kind of replaced those analog activities like reading and writing and painting and going outside, riding your bike. If it's replaced that for years now, it's going to be really, really hard for your brain to go back to that and enjoy those things. But I feel like if you start today and you give yourself time and you give yourself grace when you do kind of like fall back into your old habits, like you will retrain your brain to like those things. When I took my long detox, my 6-7 months off of social media, my brain was able to be like, okay, I'm used to getting my dopamine hit a little slower, like with activities like reading and doing yoga and stuff like that. It's like, okay, even though I don't get that immediate hit like TikTok or Instagram gives me, it trained itself to be like, I know that feeling of like, I feel accomplished, I feel happy, that will come after. Or when you make progress in a book, or when you finish a video that is educational and engaging, like that is what you're trying to train your brain to appreciate again. Versus when it's bored, you immediately reach for your phone. You're trying to get rid of that instinct. So it's going to take time. But my biggest advice, and something that has worked for me, is just doing cold turkey, cut social media out for at least 6, 7, 8 months, maybe a year. Hey, if you can, go as long as you can. Because the more time that you give yourself to kind of acclimate to that new lifestyle of not reaching for your phone every 5 seconds, the more likely you will be able to succeed after your detox is over. And like I said, for me, when I do have those moments where for work, sometimes now I do post my projects on Instagram and LinkedIn and stuff like that. And then it's so easy to click that Reels button and start scrolling on Reels. But for me, my brain is like, within 5 minutes, it's like, I'm bored of this. I don't want to watch Reels for the next hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So I just stop and I go do something else. And so if you have to make that a goal for the rest of the year, for next year, just take steps to retrain and introduce activities that you want to have in your life that don't require you to be on your device, on Instagram, on TikTok, on whatever platform that has a grip on you right now. And I will say repetition is key. Like you have to really ingrain these activities into your daily routine. And that kind of bleeds into the second step, which is to make analog activities a daily ritual. Because if they're not baked into your everyday life and those moments when you're bored and when you want something to kind of like engage with, you need those activities, those go-to activities already there, ready, locked and loaded, so you could go ahead and just dive into them. So I feel like with analog activities, yes, in the beginning, even when like you're tired after a long day, you just want to like turn your brain off and just like binge watch a television show, which is okay. Hey, I still do that some days, but it's way easier when you're like, okay, I have a goal to finish like 5 pages a day of this book. So when you get home and you have that urge to reach for your phone and scroll on TikTok, and you see your book, you're like, hey, maybe let me start just 1 page now. And then eventually I feel like once you get the ball rolling, it's easier to commit to the activity rather than not having an analog activity locked and loaded to go. And then you find yourself wanting to engage with something and then your phone is there. So you just have to be prepared. Have a list of analog activities that you like to do. For me, that's reading. That's scrapbooking. Scrapbooking has been something that I started like a few years ago when I really started traveling after college. And this was around the time where I was like, okay, I'm going to give social media a big break. Like I want to pump the brakes and just focus on my life, focus on myself. And scrapbooking helped me scratch that itch of creativity. Because like for me, when I post pictures on Instagram, and I feel like this is the case for a lot of people, it's like you like the aesthetic that it has, like the visual element of your grid looking a certain way. And scrapbooking for me accomplished that as well. Like you get to be creative with how you want to display your memories. And so over the years, I really have gotten into scrapbooking, and that I guess that's like my analog way of scratching that itch that Instagram once satisfied for me. Because if you look at my Instagram now, I barely post anything on my grid. Sometimes I post stories mainly to repost like my work and like quotes that I really like, and that's pretty much it. Okay, and so number 3 is you have to commit to simplicity. Now, I don't mean you have to become a full-on minimalist or get rid of all your things and like live off of just like the clothes on your back. Like, no. When I say commit to simplicity, that just means being okay with your life not being constantly stimulated. And I also like this quote, and I shared it before, but it says, spend more time living your life than watching others live theirs. And that has stuck with me to this day. And something that Michelle Obama said on her podcast with her brother, she said young people nowadays expect their life to be one big like reel, highlight reel. And so we kind of condition ourselves like, oh, something is supposed to be happening in my life every day, every second of every day. And like, I feel like social media exacerbates that feeling because we see other people and their highlight reels, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing with my life? You know, if you're like having like a boring, like kind of chill day, and then you go on Instagram, you see someone traveling, then you're gonna feel the pressure to look at your own life and like judge that based off of someone else's highlight reel. And so when I say commit to simplicity, and how I apply this to my life is to become comfortable with the mundane, to become comfortable and to start to appreciate just ordinary life. Like, you can still look forward and plan those big moments in your life, but it's kind of like resetting and like cultivating this mindset of ordinary life is just life. Like, your life is not supposed to be on a high 24/7. That's impossible. Like, it's impossible. You will burn yourself out even trying to achieve that. So it's getting comfortable with the waves, you know, the ebbs and flows. And so how this ties back into anti-brain rot is whenever we're constantly seeking that stimulation, like from Instagram, from social media, and we're expecting to feel that in our lives every day, like we're training our brain to seek that every day, like that's just not realistic. Okay, and the next one, and this is gonna be really hard for a lot of people because it was hard for me in the beginning, and that is to be okay with FOMO, the fear of missing out, and to start to appreciate privacy again. And I feel like this is something that I would say the past 2 years I've really been practicing, because I remember I even had a conversation literally a few months ago with a friend of mine, and I was telling my friend, I really have come to appreciate my privacy and not having to share everything about my life online. Because like, honestly, when you're on social media so much and you see everyone else doing it, like sharing their milestones and stuff like that, not that's anything wrong with that. But I feel like for me, and something I've learned about myself by spending time with myself, is that I'm actually a really private person. I don't like sharing a lot of my life with people I don't know. And I feel like my time off of social media has got me used to not wanting to share so much on social media. So when I think about it, I'm like, ugh, do I have to? Do I want to? And so this step, being okay with the fear of missing out, in the beginning, I felt like people were going to forget about me and I was going to forget about people. And that I was going to miss some big thing if I wasn't on social media. And like, yeah, when it comes to like events and stuff like that and news, you're going to miss out on some things, but I feel like there's other ways to where if you really want to, you'll figure it out. You will figure out a way to be informed on the things you want to be informed about. For example, I love concerts and I follow a lot of my favorite artists on Instagram, but a way that I keep up with them is on Spotify now. Like, I make sure to go keep my notifications for events. They send me emails. So that's another way I can keep up with that news. As far as world news, I just go to the sites. Even though that's like kind of better to go read full stories instead of like headlines on Instagram or TikTok, blah, blah, blah. I go to the actual news source. Call me old school. But in order to work against brain rot, you have to incorporate these types of avenues, even though in the beginning it's going to be really hard because you're not used to it. You'll get used to it eventually. And you will start to appreciate the slower form of getting informed, in my opinion, especially because it helps regulate my nervous system, not getting news 24/7 in my face when I'm just trying to relax. I have a set time throughout the week where I go and read news, but it's not a part of like my every second of every day. And the privacy thing, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to share your life on social media, because I still somewhat do that. I'm sharing my thoughts and my opinions now, but I feel like if you find out ways to at least save some things for yourself, you will notice a significant difference in the way you use social media. I feel like I think it's beautiful that a lot of people share their struggles and their triumphs and stuff online, because you really can inspire people. I've been inspired by people who share their life online, but there's also a thing where you can save some things for yourself. So it's all about finding that balance if you do choose to share your life on social media. And the last thing, you could kind of view this as another mindset shift, and it's to see your actions towards anti-brain rot as self-love. Like, I really feel like reprogramming your mind is an act of self-love, especially in a generation that we're seeing that is so addicted to their devices. It's an act of self-love to be like, hey, I deserve more than this. I deserve to have a life that I can actually fully experience offline. And maybe that's just, hey, we all have different standards for ourselves, but I feel like for me, with the direction I want my life to go and how I want it to look, how I want it to feel, it requires me to be fully present. And you can't do that if you're always on your phone and you're always constantly distracted and looking for stimulation. And so if you're on that journey of like, hey, I'm ready to change my life, I'm ready to reprogram my mind before it's too late, then seeing this as an act of self-love will help. Because we sometimes confuse self-love with things that should be easy. But when we think about growing up and like how our parents show love to us, sometimes they had to do hard things. Like, out of love for one to see you prosper, these are rules we have in place so that you could prosper. You may not see it now, but you just wait. Taking that view, and because like when you're older, you have to kind of parent yourself. And so when it comes to reprogramming your mind and trying to show yourself love, if your goal is to be like, hey, I'm going to reprogram my mind because this is something I want to do and I know it's going to pay off in the future, it's going to be hard at first. But love is not always easy. I just view it as that. I'm like, it may be tough in the beginning. I may hate picking up a book rather than letting my brain turn off and scroll on social media. But I know that later down the road, I'm going to appreciate. Even the next day, I'm like, wow, I feel so much more relaxed. I feel so much more calm and peaceful and feel like I'm getting more out of my day rather than my day getting away from me. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed it, let me know down below in the comments. And let me know if you're on a journey of kind of reprogramming your mind. And let me know your thoughts on the movement that's slowly growing and gaining followers. So yeah, make sure to stay inspired, and Ali loves you.